YouTube now. So good afternoon, everyone. If you allow me, Vivek, and all my lovely directors and principals on the panel, if you can allow, I will start.
So please go ahead.
So good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, participants. Welcome to Ideas That Matter, a series of webinars by Shoolini University. The idea behind Ideas That Matter is very simple. It's about interacting with each other, inspiring each other. Inspiring because all of us are in the business of inspiring our students. And if we can learn from each other, inspire each other, we can then go out and inspire our students. So the topic today, which is going to be anchored by Vivek Atray, is Ideas That Matter. I'll introduce Vivek to all of you. Vivek is an ex-IAS officer, a TEDx speaker, a motivational speaker, an author, and much, much more. But to me, more importantly, Vivek, you're a very dear friend and also an advisor and professor at Shoolini University. A quick background to me, my name is Atul Khosla. I'm the Pro-Vice Chancellor and founder of Shoolini University, Kasoli Hill, Solan. I'm a BTech from IIT Kanpur and an MBA post that. 20 years in the industry, 7 different countries, 35 different cities, multinationals like McKinsey and Company. And 2013, Vivek, the teaching bug hit me and I got full-time into teaching. And I very proudly call myself a very proud teacher. I love to talk, I love to teach, I love to make my students successful like all of you. And we've started a bunch of interactions with students, with teachers, and with the public in general. And that's one of the passions I have right now. So I won't take more time, but I'll request one of you, ma'am, Malika ma'am, or Aarti ma'am, or Suman ma'am, or anyone else to please speak for 30 seconds to 1 minute, introduce the subject, and we'll get into the discussion with Vivek after that.
Should I start?
Malika, yeah, please, Aarti ma'am, please.
Why don't you do it?
Okay. Good afternoon. Teachers are there? How many teachers?
I think we have around 20 teachers with us right now.
20. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's wonderful to see you all joining this webinar organized by. First of all, I welcome my worthy directors, principal ma'am, and all the faculty members of Sharon College and Scholars International. As you know, Shoolini University is organizing a series of webinars entitled Ideas That Matter, Success Strategies for the School. And we are fortunate enough to be a part of this series. It's 29th episode today. I think so. 29th episode is there, and the topic is finding success within. Yeah. So we have with us Professor Atul Khosla, founder, president, and pro-chancellor of Shoolini University. He is an entrepreneur, an educationist, and management consultant. A very warm welcome, sir, on the behalf of all present here. I really appreciate your efforts to make this lockdown period so productive for all of us. It will really empower the schools to create a new success story. Now it's the time to introduce our key speaker. It's a great honor for me to welcome our dynamic resource person, Mr. Vivek Atray, a former IAS officer, a renowned motivational speaker. He is an accomplished with several published works to his credit. He is a former cricketer also. We are delighted to have such a versatile personality with us. A very warm welcome, sir. I welcome you on the behalf of management and faculty members. I have listened to your videos on YouTube many times, but it is really a privilege to have this opportunity directly listen to you. Really, it's amazing. So without wasting any much time, I hand this session over to Vivek, sir. But before that, I request all of you to please mute yourself to avoid any kind of disturbance. I think all the teachers, they are mute. In the last, you will get enough time for your queries. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful session ahead.
Thank you, Aarti ma'am. And before Vivek starts, I'll request all of you, panelists and teachers, to please ask questions. We'll be delighted. I think the more the questions, the more energy we get. So at the end, we'll open it up to the panel out here. And over to you, Vivek. I'll request everyone to please mute and stop your video, apart from Vivek, of course. Vivek Atray.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Atul. You are a very good friend as well, very dear and very bubbling with enthusiasm. Always nice to see you. And thank you, Aarti ma'am, Principal ma'am, and Dipali ma'am, I believe. Yes. So all of you, thank you very much for joining this session. And it's a pleasure to be speaking to you. I have been speaking with Atul Khosla for about a month now on these sessions. And it is lovely that you have joined us today for this session on finding success within. And Atul is very generous with his words. So thank you for the introduction. And he himself is a very good orator. So he will join me in speaking about the topic a little later. I know that all of you are educationists, and you are in the endeavor to make some good personalities out of your students. I know that many of them must be brilliant. Some of them may be so-so, and some of them may be quite poor at their studies. But you will make an effort to make each of them successful in whatever they do. So teachers are the change agents, you could say, or they are the facilitators or the catalysts for change in personalities. Not only in personalities, but obviously in knowledge and know-how and information levels of these children, of students. And they learn so much from you by not only listening to you, but also by watching you in the sense how you conduct yourself, how you behave, how you talk, how you carry yourself. Especially in school, children really feel inspired when they see a teacher who is really inspiring, who is full of enthusiasm, energy, and always cheerful. So similarly, all teachers have to somehow maintain that level of cheerfulness and excellence at the same time, without getting into what I call, let's say, a whirlpool of bitterness. So bitterness is not something that is our friend. Let us see how we can be successful at what we do without losing our cool, without losing our patience, without losing our positivity. And ultimately, what is success, we'll also come to that. So as I continue with the teaching field and the education field, I know and you know that it is only so much possible for you to educate the child. The child has to be receptive. The student has to be receptive. The youngster has to be receptive to what you're teaching, what you're saying, what you're trying to impart. The best teacher may not produce the best students, because the receptivity of the students depends on certain other things, perhaps their background, their other life problems, or whatever they go through. And maybe the best teacher may also lack certain things, which could be, that teacher may know everything about the subject, but is not as good a communicator as necessary, is not able to control the class as is necessary, is not an all-rounder with all-round skills of understanding. So what are the things that make for a successful educationist? Let's talk about that first. A successful educationist is one who leaves a mark, who leaves an imprint on the personalities of the students. So even 10 years later, 20 years later, they see you somewhere or they remember you. They say, oh, ma'am taught us, and she's such a good teacher. We learned so much from her. We felt so inspired by her. We were so, always used to look forward to her class. These are the qualities that an educationist can have. Making the children inspired, making the children learn in a way that they are willing to learn, not learning because it is their duty to learn or their work to learn, but because they want to from that teacher. So educationists can do a great job by being calm, positive, and also being good communicators. If they are all these things, then these educationists, all the teachers, will do very, very well. And inspiration that I talked about has to first come inside you. If you are not inspired, if you are what is called in English listless, which is dull and without energy, then you will not be able to drive yourself to work with enthusiasm and happiness. You will have to do it unwillingly and grudgingly at times. So if you don't love your work, or if you don't really produce that energy which is required for successful work, then you will not be able to enjoy yourself and not be able to produce the results. It happens over the course of a career that our enthusiasm flags, reduces, goes down, whittles away. And what happens then that we keep on living a life which is rather routine. In the morning, you are running, making things for the children, whatever it is. Then breakfast, you are running and having breakfast. And then you are reaching school. I'm not talking about lockdown days. I'm talking about normal school days. And you reach school and then you run throughout the day because one class after another, copies to check, this, that, whatever it is, administrative duties, annual function coming up. All these things I understand you are doing. And then you come home, again lunch, again family, again children to be taught, again various things happening, then husband comes in, or in the other case, it could be husband and wife both come back, and they are busy. They have been busy, now they are busy to talk to each other. So that is a routine kind of life. It is our duty, of course, to do all these things. But where is the extra special element in your life? That special element in your life will come by making an effort, extra effort. And that extra effort means that on every evening or every Sunday, the whole day or half day or quarter day, you are able to take out time for yourself to upgrade your skills. So there was a story of a woodcutter, and the woodcutter was cutting wood madly in the jungle. Somebody had told the woodcutter that you please go and cut as much wood as you can, and by 8 o'clock, whatever wood you cut, that is yours, the owner of the jungle, of that land area. So this woodcutter was madly cutting, and by 5 o'clock in the evening, he had almost collapsed. His axe was blunt, his body was totally broken and tired and shattered. He was almost fainting with the the kind of work that he had to do. He was so exhausted. And he could not stop himself because he thought, I must get more and more and more wood. Some passerby tells him that, why don't you take a break? Why don't you sharpen your axe? Start cutting wood again after half an hour or 1 hour, and you will do better till 8 o'clock. He said, no, I have to cut more wood. And in half an hour itself, he collapsed, cannot do anything more, and has to be taken to hospital. So we are often like that. We are running in our careers without taking a meaningful break. A break where you rejuvenate, upgrade, upskill yourself, where you revamp yourself, where you improve yourself. Which means that, like this break, which has come, this lockdown break, utilize it to upgrade your skills and your personality. It's very, very important that you do that. Maybe read that book which you couldn't read earlier. Maybe learn that musical instrument which you wanted to as a youngster, and now you want to still do it. Maybe learn some skill in the kitchen or in the house or in computers or stargazing, astronomy, photography, whatever it is that you love, and get after that. Then you are sharpening your axe. Also upgrade your skills in your field. That is very important. If your field is, let us say, geography, and there is some new research, or there is something about the Amazon forest which you didn't know, or there is something which has come to light, keep on researching, keep on upgrading your skill, keep on learning new things. And that is the way in which you will become a complete individual, more balanced and more looking forward to your work. An educationist who can do all these things, or a leader in any field, will be able to enthuse the followers, that is the students or the colleagues or whoever, to do the same, to become like you. They will want to become like you. So that energy level that you have, that enthusiasm that you have, which is a result of your love for your work, will make you highly successful. And that is what I'll talk about in the second part after the short break. How you find success is the secret. And success really comes from within. Before that, I'll hand it over to Atul, Professor Atul Khosla, to take you through a video and to add his knowledge about the field that we're talking about. And the video will show you how a creative student has, under the right conditions at Shoolini University, can produce marvelous results. Over to you, Atul.
Thank you, Vivek. Always so inspiring listening to you.
Right.
I wouldn't claim that I've found success within, but I definitely am more peaceful after I've got to know you and hearing all those lovely, lectures of yours. I think the area teachers I like to bring in as we think about finding success within is creativity. Creativity and inspiration are the two areas that I'd like to talk about. As we move to the next century, as we move to life post COVID, one of the most important things I think is going to be the move from IQ, which used to be, I think, the most preferred skill, to EQ or emotional intelligence. And for emotional intelligence and to be happy, you need to be creative and inspirational, I think, together. Of course, you need to collaborate with others. And if you can do all the three, you'll also not just find success for yourself, but also, as Vivek described, finding success within and be a happier person. I'll take an example of Aman, who's a student of ours. She's doing a PhD at Shoolini, comes from a relatively lesser privileged family, comes from Punjab, did her undergrad and master's at Shoolini, was a troubled student. And you know what I mean when I say troubled. It was not that easy to manage. But some magic happened to her as she moved into her PhD. And I think it was a lot about the inspirational leadership that she got from her guide, Dr. Saurabh Kulshrestha, the collaboration that she made with people around the world, but more importantly, the creativity she brought into solving the problem. So what problem did she solve? She started working on the problem of water. How can we make water which is full of bacteria drinkable? And that's a very, very big challenge in the world today. So Aman has come up with a discovery, a biomolecule, which when added to water kills bacteria by 99.9%, Vivek. She's been awarded the Young Water Fellow. It's a UN-sponsored fellowship. More than 100,000 researchers across the world apply. It's very prestigious. It involves 4 months in Geneva, which Aman did. Post that, she's won a 25 lakh award from Tata Trust and Lockheed Corporation. So she's done something spectacular. But more importantly, I think the research she's doing can actually change the world. It's about changing the way people drink water. So I'll just talk about why it's important, because success only for yourself is fine. But if you can make other people successful along with yourself, there's no better satisfaction than that. And I'm so proud to say that, when I'm speaking to teachers, you guys are doing it all the time, every day, every second, every breath of your life. So thank you very much for being inspirational and creative and giving all of us success. But before I hand it back to Vivek, I'm going to show you a small video of Aman, and you'll understand why I'm so excited about Aman when I speak about her. So Vivek, if you allow me, I'm going to play this video.
Please go ahead.
I get goose pimples every time I see this video of Vivek. It's such a path-breaking discovery, but more importantly, it can change people's lives. It can really, help. There's so many people who die because of drinking bad water, and I think that's apart from successful herself that Aman is now. She's also made so many other people around her live better life. So over to you with that thought, Vivek.
Thank you, Atul. Really nice and very, very inspiring indeed. And teachers, as I was speaking before the break or before this input by Atul, you see the creativity part and the inspiration part, these are underplayed and undervalued in India. Let us say in India, because in our education system, right from childhood, we are not really making the children learn how to be creative. And it is something that must be a part of the system. We know that competitions and exams and board exams and marks and bookish learning is what life is about for them. So the more we can enable them to be creative, they will become better achievers, more successful. And ourselves also, as I said, if we bring in that zing means that extra spark of energy into our lives, then we'll be able to really, really make a mark. Now, some of the factors of success that I have mentioned in my book is called Finding Success Within. And this is the book, Finding Success Within. And you can see that I have talked about 52 life skills for young people. 52 life skills for young people who could be you and me. No, don't necessarily need to be 19 or 20 or 25. They can be anyone. What are these life skills? Just roughly going through some of them. We already spoke about inspiration and creativity. I would like to emphasize a little bit about communication skills. Communication skills we can go on improving. And better communicators will definitely be better, more successful in life. Ultimately, the quality of communication comes from within you. You may watch 100 videos or read 100 books or practice, but ultimately that confidence, that energy to communicate well and communicate positively comes from within. And a good communicator will also be a personality who is living what he or she is actually preaching. So I often say, and this is the next point to be successful, you cannot make people do what you want by telling them that this is what you want. You have to be that example. They will do much better and they will learn much more if they learn by your example, by being what you are. You cannot tell the students to be disciplined if you are not. So it is very important to be good examples, not only for our students, but also our own children. And our children, especially at home, they will watch us very carefully. Mama does this, Papa does that. They will not learn from what we tell them. They will copy us and learn from what we are. So we have to be good examples. That's another way to be successful. The next way to be successful is actually to see the bigger picture. And the bigger picture of life is not about 2 months or even 2 years. It is a long journey. We have to think in big terms. In fact, Paramahansa Yogananda, I've got the autobiography of a yogi here. His book is called The Autobiography of a Yogi. Fantastic, wonderful book for all of you to read. And it is called Autobiography of a Yogi because he was a yogi who went to the West and taught them and Indians also about how to meditate and yoga. Yoga, not physical yoga, but the art of finding union with God. So if we meditate, if we find that peace within, then our lives will become much, much better. And understanding yourself and your limitations and your plus points is something very vital for you to be successful. So it is very important to see the bigger picture at all times, not do something rash that might impinge upon your future or might impact your future, affect your future. It is something that you must work on, that you are not short-sighted in spiritual terms or bigger terms. Yogananda ji says, think in terms of eternity, infinity. He uses these words. He said, think in terms of eternity, infinity. What does that mean? It means that he wants you to think of large pictures of life. That means after 30 years, I will be doing this. My family depends on me, so I should not do anything small or narrow-minded or rash. I'm driving a car very fast. Simple example. I may get home 2 minutes early, but I may land in an accident before that. So it is better for me to drive safely, better late than never, seeing the bigger picture. So these are the things that we keep in mind. We don't say something to someone which we don't want to say or shouldn't say because we lost our temper. Emotional intelligence comes into play. So if we talk briefly of emotional intelligence, it is a big success factor. Anyone who has emotional intelligence is bound to be successful because he or she knows that every day is a different day. Tomorrow will be better than today. If today is bad, tomorrow will be better. Then again, there might be day after tomorrow, which is difficult. And again, the day after that might be better. So life is full of ups and downs. Emotional intelligence means you understand and appreciate the bigger picture. You understand and appreciate others. And you understand and appreciate your own qualities and your own drawbacks. So we have to work on our EI or EQ. And once you work on your EQ, like Atul said, students who are only bookish learners without high EQ will not really get jobs in the future. You know that nowadays, even corporates, I was in a webinar where CEO of a company was talking about recruitment. He says in the interview, I don't want to see technical skills. I know that from the mark sheet or the result or whatever, or experience which that person has. I want to see how positive this person, how cheerful this person, how magnanimous, compassionate, thinking of others this person is. You are teachers, you will meet lots of youngsters in your time, and you are meeting them. You have also been youngsters, I hope, like me. Everyone has been. And there was a time when we were to get married, let's say. And before marriage, everyone has to find out whether this person is compatible, is suitable, is amenable or not. And what is the one way to find out how this person is in a quick time? Sometimes you don't have time to decide. Arranged marriage or even not arranged marriage, even then. The best way is to see how the person behaves and speaks with people who are powerless, who are not going to be able to help him or her, who are not in a position to command, who are in the lower rungs of society. Maybe a sweeper, maybe a peon, maybe a waiter also, maybe someone who's driving a rickshaw. How is this person behaving with them, the person you're going to marry or they are going to marry? So it is very important for us to see the EQ level. This is the EQ level. Emotional intelligence is the ability to balance your life, to see every situation in a manner that is calm and balanced and tackle it accordingly. Very, very important. Let me give you a few more pointers to success. Very important point is to, for students especially, you must tell them, choose a career that you love. You cannot get into something which is foreign to your passions. That means that you are not passionate about it. You're not in love with this work or this path or this realm of study. And you are into it because of some fate or some neighbor or some uncle or somebody who told you to do this. That is a difficult situation to be in. Many people spend 35 years doing that which they didn't want to do. And that is their whole career. So it has to be done in a way that ultimately, it could be the difference, like I mentioned, of marriage, love marriage and arranged marriage. A love marriage is where you marry the person you want to marry. That means you get the career which you want. In an arranged marriage, you marry and then you find love with that person. So if you are able to even have that arranged kind of arrangement, where you are able to get a job which is suitable for you, maybe a little bit uncertain in the beginning, but that student finds that, yes, finally, I love this job or I love this career. Then also it's fine. But if we are in a difficult situation where we just hate the work, we have to change. So success means that you align your forces according to what you're really desiring and wanting to do in life. These are very, very important traits. Another trait you must teach your students is team building. being a team member, a good team player. That means that when the organization matters, then the team player can even sacrifice his own interest. Ultimately, in the long run, such a person will be actually more successful, and sacrifice will actually be recognized. Another factor could be the ability to earn goodwill. Goodwill is something that will come in handy for you 20 years later. They'll say, this person was so good to me. Even now, people remember after many years, whatever goodwill I earned, they meet me, they remember, sir, I don't remember because I was in the IAS, HCS, I used to meet hundreds of people. They will come and say, sir, आपने हमारा ये काम किया, आपसे हम मिले थे, sir, आपने बहुत अच्छी तरह हमारे से बात की. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to be. So that is something that we have to work on, goodwill. And goodwill will come when we keep our cool, when we remain cheerful and compassionate, when we think of others, when we don't treat other people as if they are troublesome. They may be troublesome, but we have to be large-hearted. We have to show that kind of calmness which matters. So work on your calmness. Paramahansa Yogananda said, be calmly active and actively calm. It is something that will work very well for you. Working on your calmness means that you are actually spending time on it, that you are looking after your mind and where it is, and you're working on the fact that perhaps you lose your cool a few times a day. So that is something you need to work on as well. When you are in the middle of a situation, are you losing your cool? Are you losing your calmness? And then after a while, you realize that you lost it. So then at the end of the day, introspect and find out that where can you make those changes in your demeanor, in your behavior, in your conduct with others that will matter. And people skills really matter. How you behave with others, how you react, how you speak, whether you lose your temper too many times or whether you don't lose your temper at all or sometimes. Firmness, as I often say, is better than anger. You have to get things done. You cannot be taken lightly. You know that this is important. You're firm. This has to be done. 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, by tomorrow. But you are not the person who will go on shouting. That is the art of being successful. So ultimately, goodwill will matter, inner contentment will matter, inner peace will matter, happiness will matter. Happiness is supreme to success. And whether you have money, power, or fame, it will not matter that much. As much as what will matter is your inner journey, your inner peace. And meditation, I would like to bring up before I hand it over to Atul. Meditation is something that will help you calming your mind, finding inner joy, inner peace, inner happiness, and find a path, whatever suits you. Meditate. I meditate following the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. He died in 1952, but his written teachings are available. His monks, his nuns are spreading these teachings all over the world. Find a path and meditate. Meditation will help you to be peaceful, calm, joyous, balanced. Health, physical health will also improve. And work on your physical health, because only then your success and happiness will be linked to that also. Very important to remain healthy and physically fit. So teachers, ladies, gents, everybody after the age of 20, 30, they think that now no more exercise. Exercise is a walk. That's okay. But some badminton, some race or some kind of physical exercise with a little more exhausting or aerobic exercise is also required. So we need to balance the body, mind, and soul in order to be successful. The body is important, the mind is important, the soul is extremely important. So please work on all three and be successful in life. Good wishes, and I'll come back for a Q&A session just after a while. Over to you, Atul.
Thank you, Vivek. When you were talking about finding a job you love, I was reminded of a quote by Confucius, the very famous Chinese philosopher. He said, choose a job you love and you'll never have to work a day in your life. And it's so true. I think if we can find that job that we really like, that gives us goose pimples every day, there's nothing better than that. But I have another philosophy, Vivek. Lots of times my faculty will come to me or people in my team will come to me and say, sir, बहुत ज़्यादा काम है, मैं बहुत stressed हूँ. And then we've also seen people who have no work, who have got relatively low work. My philosophy or my theory is that people who go back home after achieving something, however difficult it is, however stressed they were during the day, they go back and they sleep a very, very quality sleep. And people who didn't do anything productive, who were just roaming around, loitering around, talking around because they didn't have enough work, actually don't sleep well. So I think, at least I'm a Karam Yogi. I sleep very well when I work my 15 hours, 16 hours a day. I know, I mean, that's not the right model, teachers. I'm wrong. No one should do more than 12 hours or 10 hours a day. But do stretch your students, do stretch your colleagues when it comes to work. I think the second thing I'd like to add to Vivek is the word passion. All of us are passionate about something which is beyond work. Do pursue your hobbies. Actually, right now is the time to do that. We are at home. I know you all are working very hard, and I'll speak about that in a second. But you still have time, I'm sure, for your hobbies. Restart your hobbies, get into meditation or sing or cook or paint or whatever you want to do, or read a book, stuff that you've always wanted to do. Don't waste your time on Netflix or your mobile is my last thought. And finally, Vivek, I'd love to congratulate all the teachers on this panel who are here today. And the reason is because the media has actually completely missed this story. You all as teachers are actually great Corona warriors. You are keeping the mood of the nation high. You are keeping the young people of India smiling, motivated, inspired, and you have done an amazing job. So one of my passions, Vivek, is to work with underprivileged students, work with students who are ordinary and make them world beaters, make them extraordinary. Very quickly about my life, I'm a Solan boy. I grew up in Solan. I was very lucky to get into IIT. In fact, I was the first Himachali to ever clear the JEE. But I couldn't speak a word of English till I went to IIT Kanpur. I learned how to do that there. But more importantly, when I started work, I almost got fired because I couldn't speak good English. So I actually spoke to a camera for the next 7 years, every day in the morning between 7 and 8 or 6 and 7, whatever time I had. And I did that consistently every day, till I learned how to speak. I used to stammer earlier. And I think that's something that all of you can do, all your students can do. So I think with that, I'll just lay out the fact that that's my passion, Vivek, to make ordinary people extraordinary. And that's what we have to do in India. I call it the belly of India has to succeed for India to succeed. And that's exactly the passion of Shoolini also. So I'm going to show a small video over here on how we as teachers are making young India, young human beings successful. If you allow me, Vivek.
Please go ahead.
I'll have to close this. Sorry, I think there's a technology problem. I'll pick it up again.
Throughout history, the young have always been the ones to shape the future. And they continue to do so today. You are the country's biggest asset, our best bet to conquer the future. So what are you waiting for? Your time to dream is now. Dream of the research that can change the world. Dream of a high-flying corporate career. Dream of higher studies in the world's best universities. Dream of developing cutting-edge technology of the future. Dream of your own global startup. At Shoolini University, we empower you and enable you to chase your dreams and change the world. Learning, think success.
Thank you. Vivek, it's possibly time for us to invite our panelists and get into a discussion. I'll request Aarti ma'am, Shoolini ma'am, Malika ma'am to possibly unmute themselves and stop the videos, or sorry, play the videos. So before we get them, Vivek, and as they're coming in, any last thoughts for our participants?
Yes, I think very inspiring video by Atul at that point, Shoolini University leading the way. So perhaps one thought is that you can actually adopt best practices from other kinds of educational groups and institutions. Shoolini has a lot to showcase. You can study how Shoolini goes about its work and what inspiration it brings. And although you're not a university, but you can adopt some of the best practices there. And from other organizations across the world, maybe there's somebody in New Zealand who is doing something very innovative and you learn about it from the internet. So get into that and put somebody to research. I think that's also a great idea for your institution. Yes, let's go ahead.
Absolutely. So Shoolini ma'am, Malika ma'am, and Aarti ma'am, if you could come on screen, we'd love to have a small chat with you. Love to get your views on your experiences with your students in terms, I'm sure there'll be many of them, and I'm sure we'd love to hear from you, how you make your students successful. And I also request teachers to please write their questions. You can do that over chat or you could do it over Q&A. So would appreciate if you could do that. So your thoughts, Aarti ma'am, you've been, I'm sure, a teacher for many years, and this is a topic I'm sure very close to your heart.
Yeah, sure, sir.
I'm not sure whether, I think we probably lost her, Vivek.
I think there is some network.
There's a network problem. So possibly Malika ma'am, you might want to add a few thoughts before Aarti ma'am comes in. I think we're having technology challenges. Okay, let me ask you a question till we sort this technology out, Vivek.
Sure.
Especially when we do discussions with teachers, I think one question comes up all the time that, look, you're working so hard, you're online all the time. However, we also have to play the role of a mother, a daughter-in-law, or a daughter, a wife, and it's actually getting very tough. It's getting very stressed. So what do you suggest to teachers today? I mean, how should they go about removing that stress?
Yeah, it's a very good point. These days with online classes, it's even more, and pressure at home with the children at home and children not leaving the house even for 1 hour or even 1 minute. But yes, I think they can actually work on their elimination of certain things which are eating up time and adding to the stress. So it is very important for all of us to understand that there are certain things which we are doing which are not required to be part of our routine or our week. So it's very important that you try and eliminate these by basically getting into a role where you are understanding that these 4 or 5 things which I do, talking to my, even talking to your sister maybe for 1 hour on the phone, it might not be productive. So cut it down a little bit, talk alternate days. Maybe sometimes you are having to do work which maybe someone else could have done, but you were feeling too shy to ask. So try and apportion some of your work to others. At office or at school or at your work, you will obviously have to take care of your tasks, and your family is very important. So give top priority to your work and your family, and the rest of it just kind of sort it out in one way or the other.
You know, another question that is coming to my mind was about students. You know, you spoke about the concept of help your students find passion and make them choose a job they love. But many times, you know, children have to follow what their parents push them towards. You know, as teachers, how should they react? How should they counsel parents or counsel students? What do you suggest on that? You run a school yourself.
I know my wife is a principal of a toddler school. There's so many parents who come and they talk about these things. And of course, these are very small children. But we have a webinar in the coming week on the 28th about this topic, where we can invite the students of this assembly to join in this institution. But I think that it's very important for communication to be maintained between parents and students, children, because children cut themselves off from the parents, and parents often snap at them, and they see them for 2 minutes and they shout at them at that time. So communication is rather lacking, understanding is lacking, and the generation gap keeps widening. So I've seen that parents and children, when they keep communicating, talking to each other, then that gap will narrow. And even the students, the children have to explain to their parents why they want to do this particular thing. They are also impatient, but they also need to sit down, maybe make out a written statement on why these are the 4 or 5 points that I want to do this. I remember my father, he, on such a point, I think my sisters were to decide which stream to take up. And he actually had all 5 of us sit down, and we made the kind of minutes of the meeting, where this was the conclusion of the meeting. Everyone gave their inputs. And, you know, we noted down the points in favor of that decision. So sometimes, you know, just a constructive decision can help.
I remember, you know, when I was in my 10th, my dad came to me and said, "Beta, do you want to be a doctor or an engineer?" And, you know, that's, I think, a typical question that happens all the time. You know, it's, and ultimately, I did become an engineer. When people ask me how much engineering I know, I always say, you know, this much. And you can interpret that. You're an engineer yourself, Vivek, you know, not all we learned in engineering school.
You know, and you are from IIT Kanpur.
So I think we have, I think we got Aarti ma'am back and we lost her. Aarti ma'am, are you there? Or I think we also have, I don't know, the name doesn't say, but I think that's probably, anyone else want to make any comment or any, yeah. Would love to hear your comments or your questions, ma'am.
Please go ahead.
How will we improve the social skills?
How would you improve social skills?
Improve the social skills. Yeah, I'll take it, and you also please add, Atul. So, ma'am, it's absolutely a good question, because social emotional learning should be part of our education system.
Yes,
and social skills are very, very important. People should know how to speak. Children should know how to empathize with others. They should also be good communicators. They should be confident and charming in every way. So I think it's very important for them to be taught, firstly, to maybe group activities in the institution can be done, and where they exchange ideas and they have to give and take. You know, they listen to others, they appreciate others. So making teams and groups which may be competing with each other, that is one way to get them to do that. Making them meet students from other classes or interacting with other age groups also helps in social building, social skills building. And also telling them that maybe young children can be given an assignment that go and meet one new person today and ask him a few questions or her a few questions, note them down and come. That takes a lot of confidence for a child to do. So these kinds of activities are required. And then personality development activities are very important. Atul?
Thank you, sir.
I so agree. I think one of the things, Suman ma'am, that we try to do is we try to create groups of students, do a lot of group work. But what typically happens is students like to be with people who are like them from the same village or the same, same locality or the same town. So make your groups random, make them understand diversity. So I really like this question because as we keep talking about what are the skills for students to succeed going forward, and they're not going to be knowledge anymore because knowledge is there at the tap of a button. We know that you can go on Wikipedia or Google and get as much knowledge as you want. It's about the ability to create, and it's about the ability to collaborate and work in teams. So I think if there's one area that I'd request all of you to push your students would be working in teams. It is absolutely, absolutely essential in the future world. I think the world is also going to change post-corona, but even in today's world, it's very, very important to work as team members. I mean, we are teachers. If you think about it, if you don't come across as one good team, the school will not do as well as it otherwise can. What's also happening in teaching is that one course is not being taught by one particular teacher anymore, Vivek. So you're splicing the course, especially in higher education, amongst 2 or 3 different teachers with a coordinator. And the reason why is because each of us specialize in different things, and we can be better at in teaching and what we really understand and do. So the whole concept of teaching is going to change. So collaboration is really the message I'd like to give, Suman ma'am. I think that's something that you should experiment with. It's a little tough sometimes. People fight with each other, students fight with each other. But I think putting them in uncomfortable situations where they're not in the comfort zone, I think is very, very important. In fact, I was listening to a very interesting talk the other day, Vivek, where the speaker was saying that when you go to school or when you go to university, some of the best learnings we have is by experience. It's not really just the class, but the experience we have with the friends around and the time you spend in school or college. And it's important that students don't sit at the same place. Normally you'll be the back benchers or the front benchers in the left side of the room or the right side of the room. Probably less in schools because you force it, but in colleges that happens a lot. Like I was always the right side of the class. There were some friends who were the left side of the class. And in my engineering class, Vivek, there was a left and right divide, and we actually had elections based on that, right? So the left guys won because there was one extra guy who sat on the left. But that's how it is. There are typical patterns that happen, and we need to break those patterns. So that will be sort of my answer, Suman, man.
Absolutely.
I think if there are no other questions, Vivek, I'm being tempted to do a rapid fire on you.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
So you spoke about love and arranged marriage. So what about you? Love or arranged marriage?
Love marriage, you know it. Met in
Others
college.
don't, right?
Met in college, NIT Kurukshetra. Yes.
Fantastic, fantastic. And ma'am is a lovely lady. I think she's deeply into meditation. What about your favorite flower?
Favorite flower is actually, I've got lots of flowers in the garden, but I love these chrysanthemums which come in the winter. Love.
So are you a mountain person or a seaside person?
I am a mountain person. I love going up the hills and I love going to Shoolini campus. I know it's your next question, so I can preempt it.
So your favorite university campus?
Yes, so Shoolini University is a beautiful campus. Ladies, teachers, you must visit. Actually, I'm missing my trips to Shoolini. They are so rejuvenating, so exciting in terms of going and speaking to the students. What a campus. So must visit. And also, as I said, pick up some best practices from there about education. It would be lovely.
No, I mean, I hope coronavirus gets okay very soon. And we'd love to come over to your school, your set of colleges, and speak to your students and speak to your teachers. I think the world is all about collaboration. I'd love to collaborate amongst each other. The world is all about inspirations. We'd love to get inspired by all of you. So please do come over to Shoolini and we'll come over to your place. I think it'll be so lovely to get to know each other. But I think before I close, I'll request either Suman ma'am or Malika ma'am to speak a few words and then we'll call it a day.
Sumanji, you want to say something?
It is very inspiring speech or experiences they have given us. I'm very thankful, both of you.
Thank you, ma'am. It's been an honor to be with all of you. Like I said, you are the future of the nation. You as teachers make all of us so excited and happy. I personally come from a family of teachers. My grandfather, my Nana was a teacher in Himachal. He was posted at Mandi. He was the headmaster of the Mandi High School. My mother is a teacher. All my Masis are teachers. My mother is a teacher too. My father is a teacher, and I'm a very proud teacher. So proud to be with all of you today. Be safe, be happy, and meet all of you in person very soon. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much for a beautiful session. It was really inspiring.
Thank you, Malika ma'am. Thank you, Vivek. As always, you're always very inspiring, and all the teachers. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.